Thanks, everyone. I just want to, first off, welcome everybody to my home. We appreciate the time you took to drive out here today, and we appreciate the support that you brought to today's event. Feel free to make yourself comfortable. We're just going to do a small presentation right now. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Ian Stepler, host of today's event. I'd like to introduce my wife, Sandy. This is our farm. It's the bee farm, and the surrounding farms, you'll notice, those are our family's grain and cattle farms. Together we manage 3,500 acres of grain farm, 500 head of purebred Charlotte cattle, and a 1,200 hive apiary. My family is in attendance here today. I put them all back to work flipping burgers for you guys today. So they're back here somewhere. I'd like to acknowledge a few in attendance today. Honorable Blaine Peterson, MLA, Midland Minister of Growth, Enterprise and Trade. Miles Bowden, Director for Primary Agriculture at Manitoba Agriculture. Where's Miles? Miles is here. Riel Laffinger, our Provincial Apiarist. David Osterman, our Provincial Pollination Apiarist. Where's David? Back in here. And Rob Curry. Is Rob here today? Yeah, Rob Curry, head at the Department of Entomology at University of Manitoba. And I just want to mention I have a guest from Carcross, Yukon come out today, Lloyd Lintott. Where's Lloyd? And I want to be sure to acknowledge these two guys, John Russell, President, and Tim Kennedy, Second Vice President of the Red River Apiarist Association. These guys initiated today's event, and I appreciate all the work you guys put into this and supporting the MBA within your activities. So, I recognize a lot of faces here today. I also don't recognize a lot of faces. Mingling through the crowd earlier, I spoke to a few commercials, sideliners and hobbies, and even a few haven't yet purchased some beehives. I'm happy to have all you here today. Today is what I'm all about. I can honestly say that I directly relate to all you guys. Over the last 19 years, I've been through every stage of this beekeeping journey. I've started with 4 hives. I've made every mistake. I've searched for every answer, and I've found countless beekeeping solutions. From those 4 hives, I've leaned on any and every beekeeper who would listen to my questions and insight. The conversation around beekeeping is what I'm all about, and I will never turn away a conversation about beekeeping at any time, anywhere. So you can ask Sandy about that. I'd like to take this opportunity today to briefly speak directly not only to the membership here today, but to all Manitoba beekeepers. Although the Manitoba Beekeepers Association is regarded as a commercial beekeeper association, in reality, it is working towards developing industry opportunities that support all 800 beekeepers within this province. The Manitoba Beekeepers Association has been our beekeeping industry collective voice since 1903. With beekeeper representation from all regions across our province, the Manitoba Beekeeping Association has worked to represent and promote the welfare of the entire Manitoba honeybee industry to our government. It is our challenge to work for the general welfare of honeybees in Manitoba and for prosperity of all beekeepers. I get asked a lot about why I decided to get involved with the association. I'd like to tell you just a short little story on why. A few years ago, after I set my hives out for winter, it was early spring, I slipped over to our fertilizer dealer with my brother for a morning coffee with the neighbors. And there just so happened to be an ag rep who was making his rounds promoting a new herbicide onto the market. And he was telling us that this new product they now had available took 7 years and $10 million to get that chemical through the regulatory process. And not to mention the tens of millions it cost to develop that product. So he's selling us $10 per acre. That solved all of our weed problems. So then after that, I went back home and helped with a calf health check. A sick calf lay in the corner of the shed, nearly dead from pneumonia. So we promptly headed back to the office and chose between 4 different medications. We diagnosed and administered the proper treatment, and we saved that calf. After that, I slipped down to my spring holding yard, where I had set my hives out earlier that week. And the hives come through winter pretty rough. I cleaned up the varroa mite counts last fall, but they still had a background level of viral loads, and the bees are sickened with a nosema gut infection with 50 to 75 million spore counts. So I stood there in my yard looking at my bees, knowing that there wasn't a damn thing I could do about it. Earlier in that day, $10 represented tens of millions of dollars spent to help solve all my cropping options, which we weren't even considering on using. Then we relieved a calf from certain death with a choice of 4 different treatment options. The calf was running, it went from near death to running circles around that pen that afternoon. And I ended that day standing in the bee yard looking at what looked like death, and they couldn't do a damn thing about it. Agriculture is progressing, and it's moving on. Our beekeeping industry has been left behind, and it feels like we've been forgotten. Our industry is relevant. We provide a service to society which is critical to the growth of our food source. We need investment into our industry to provide us with their options to manage all our beekeeping issues. We have so very options right now. This is why I've got involved with the MBA. I know my problems. I'm addressing my problems the best I can, but it's the issues that I'm here to address. Our lack of answers need attention. The MBA is where we can use our collective beekeeping voice to get real action on issues which face our beekeeping industry. Our job as a Manitoba Beekeepers Association, along with the Canadian Honey Council, is to convey your voice to help our government recognize, understand, and address all of our industry challenges. It's our job to connect with producers across the province, listen to the issues, and challenge them, and convey that message through all levels of government and industry. The government is listening. Everybody wants to help move our cause. We as beekeepers need to unify our voice, and we need to tell them how to help us. The Manitoba Beekeepers Association is the voice, and we need to hear your support. The conversation around beekeeping is what I'm all about, and I'd like to help you bring that conversation to where it counts. So with that, I'd like to invite Blaine Peterson and Miles Bolden up to the front for a presentation.